everybody, and welcome to my October daily, which I have rebranded a little bit, and I'm calling it my Autumn's Memory and Gratitude, because this is not a Halloween based memory keeping project at all. I don't like Halloween, but I love fall. So I'm doing a mini album. I already showed you the product that I am using, and I have a couple printables for you before we get started that you can print out if you want. The first one is this. It is just a list of photo prompts that you could use. I put these together. I had one in my planner here. I wrote out a bunch of ideas and I decided that I would put that together in a printable for you. And so that's what I did. You can print it out. The links will be in the YouTube description. If you are interested, you can print that out. The next printable I have for you is an October calendar. I went looking for something like this online. I wanted to be able to print it out like in a 3x4, and I couldn't find anything that I liked, and so I just made my own. You won't see that until story 2, but I wanted to make sure that you had both of those printables if you wanted to use them, so they'll be linked in the YouTube description below. You can get the PNG, so you can use it in a digital form, or you can get the PDF where you just print it out, and so both of those will be linked in the YouTube description below, and you are free to use that and share them if you would like. It's just something that I created for myself and thought that I would share with you. So the next thing that I'm doing here, you can see that I have my small album on discs that I'm using. That is turning out to be amazing. I am loving it. It's the perfect size. I wish I would have trimmed off the rounded corners, to be honest. I think in the 4th story that I've told, it's like the 3rd story, but it is the like 4th layout. I started feeling like I really wished those rounded corners weren't there, but I'm just going to go with it. I am looking through some of my Ali Edwards product. I have this die cut pack. A lot of it is more Halloween themed, and so I don't know that I will use a ton of this product in this mini album because it's just not the feel that I'm going for. But there's a few items that I pulled out that I will continue to look at through the month and see. Right now, today, what we're going to do is put together the cover of it, and I am really loving the way it came out. Again, I'm using 2 collections from Tracy Reed, which will be linked in the description below as well, in case you are wanting to get those. I have just printed out all of my stuff prior. You saw that in my Hello October video. I printed all of that out, and that's what I'm using. And again, the Ali Edwards product, it doesn't really go with the Tracy Reed product. The Tracy Reed product is much more just fall themed or autumn themed. It's much brighter. It's not as dark. But there's definitely a few pieces in the Ali Edwards items that I'll be able to use. Originally, I thought that I would use this pumpkin. I think that that pumpkin die cut is beautiful on the craft part of that album, and I had thought that that would be really pretty to put on there. I'm gonna end up going in a different direction, but this would have totally worked as well. This simple, the black and white with the craft, I think is beautiful. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull in some color to the front of this album, and I'm gonna use some of the papers that I printed out. Now, I printed out a ton of the paper files, and I'm really glad I did that. Originally, I was thinking that I printed way too much. Now, I definitely printed and cut way too many of the die cut pieces. That is for sure. I'm gonna have a lot of those left over. But the paper, I may even have to print more of the paper because I've used so much of it. I printed on 65-pound cardstock. I printed on Nina Desert white, bright white cardstock. Now, in the few days or the week or so that since I printed all this out, I have been doing just a little bit of research about printing digital items. And one of the videos that I watched that was really good was about what kind of paper to print on. Now, thinking about it, it's like, oh, obviously that would make a difference, the different type of paper you're printing on. But at the time of printing this collection out, I didn't really think about it. And I mentioned that my printer definitely printed things a little bit more like the lighter, like it's not as vibrant as I noticed like Tracy's is. And I think that some of that has to do with my paper. Now, I can definitely print on Stampin' Up! 80-pound cardstock. I have printed on that in the past, and that has a really beautiful finish to it that allows your stamped images to really like pop and be really crisp and beautiful. And maybe if I would have printed on that, it would have been different. I know I've seen comments about Epson presentation paper. I've never liked that paper. I know everybody raves about it, but I've never had really great results with it. But I'm thinking maybe I'll try again and see if there is a difference. Also, my printer is very basic. It's a very basic $100 printer. It's nothing expensive or extravagant. It's a Canon printer that I got at Staples. It was like a basic printer. And so I'm thinking that if printing out product is something that I'm going to do on a more regular basis, that it might be a good idea to invest in a different printer. But I'm going to try some of the other things, like trying some different types of paper and just seeing if that makes a huge difference. Now, the product that I printed out, I'm not sad about it. I mean, I think it looks fine. I'm very happy with it. But just in my, research of like, how do you do this maybe in a better way or a more proper way? Those are the things that I have found that I thought I could try. So the great thing about this being on discs is I can take it out of the album. I don't have to work on the album together. I can definitely remove pieces to work on, and I have done that a ton. Now, again, I am not a fan of the disc system. I don't think it is as sturdy or looks as great as some other options. But I always feel like it's the same way I feel about planners. You're never going to get like the perfect journal, the perfect planner, the perfect thing. There's always going to be something that it's like you're going to trade one thing for another. And I feel like the flexibility of the disc system is worth me not loving the discs in the way that I feel like it looks a little bit maybe cheap. I don't even know if that's the right description of it. But basically, the things that I like about it outweigh the things that I don't like about it. And so I'm just willing to deal with the things that I don't like. So you saw me pull up that striped paper several times. I just could not get it straight. But I finally did. I finally got it where I wanted it. And then I had always thought when I was looking at the collection from Tracy Reed that having this house on the front of whatever album I did was what I was going to do. So when I was trying out the Ali Edwards items and it wasn't really working, I just went back to this original idea that I had. I did use one of the die cut pieces from Ali Edwards that says this October moment. I wish it would have said these October moments, but it's totally fine. Again, such a minor thing. The other thing that I like about the discs is I am not worried at all about how much I am using dimensional items in this project. I am just going for it. And it is working out really well. Like I said, I've done several stories already in this, and I'm several days into this. I will be sharing each Friday how this is coming out, and there may even be some bonus videos because I have so much footage. I've been crafting so much and having so much fun with this that I may do some bonus videos because I want to be able to wrap this up by the end of the month. So I'm just taking some paper that I've got. I'm going to cut it down. And then I got a little black dot on the cover of my album. It's totally fine. I'm not totally worried about it, but I did take a sand eraser and use it to make that smudge a little bit lighter. And then the other thing I'm trying to remember to do is punch the holes first. Now, if you saw my summer mini album, I really wish I would have done my summer mini album the way that I'm doing this one. I just feel like it looks a lot better and a lot cleaner, and I'm not worried about the rings, and I'm not trying to like manage how that's going to work or the rings coming open. This just is a much cleaner look. I will say that the thing I am trying to do with these is, you see I'm putting glue in between the holes that it punches, and that is so that when I put the two pieces together, they don't pull up in that, I don't even know what to call it, in that edge where the holes are. And I am using liquid glue to put all of this together, because with liquid glue, you get a little bit of a moment to push things around and line things up when you use a tape runner or like the ATG gun. Like once it goes down, it goes down. Yes, you can pull it apart, but it doesn't always work to pull it apart. It's not always a great situation. It does sometimes rip. So with the liquid glue, you just have a few seconds to move things around and push them around to make sure that they line up, and lining those holes up is really important. So the other thing I will say is, using this notebook, this was just like a traveler's notebook style notebook that I got off Amazon. I got it in like a pack of 10, and it was just like these size craft notebooks. The paper inside is plain. It didn't have any lines or dots on it, but the paper is very thin inside, and so definitely backing it with the pattern paper is definitely I found that is a good idea, to have at least one side backed totally with paper. Now, the craft cover doesn't matter because it's a little bit thicker, so that I wasn't so worried about that. But definitely with the paper. So on the very inside cover, I'm going to use one of these, which is one of the Traveler Notebook size pages. I'm going to use this Autumn Vibes. It is this really pretty blue. I'm going to trim it down around the box, and it's going to trim off a little bit of the leaves and everything, but it's going to be okay. I'm counting the lines. I was hoping that there were 31, because I was thinking this would be perfect to do like a table of contents, or like the what is in here. I think there's 28 lines, and so I will double up a couple of the things that I do, and that will be fine. It will end up working out. So I trim this down, and then I am going to put this on the front cover. Originally, I was going to make it my first day, like the first page, but I will end up doing something different with that. So I'll put this on the cover, and then I will add a couple of the die cuts. Now, again, I have a lot of the die cuts. I fussy cut a bunch, and then I also used my Cricut to cut a bunch, and I have way more than I'm even going to be able to use. And so I'm really not worried about the things that I'm using. I'm just going for it and using all of the things. The other thing to brighten up the piece, like these die cuts, especially the die cut pieces, I am going to be using a lot of stickles and the Nuvo drops, and adding a lot of glitter to this. I mean, I always think that autumn and fall is the perfect time, and Christmas is the perfect time to use a lot of glitter and a lot of sparkle. And so I'm certainly not sad about using that. But it will also brighten up these pieces that maybe I feel like are a little bit muted. You know, I wish they were a little bit brighter. Also, when you print out your own items, you don't really get that shimmer or that shine. So definitely using like glitter, even using glossy accents, which I will use a ton, is going to give that paper that more luxurious feel, like you actually purchased it. and not that you just printed it out. So I will definitely do that. So this is the very inside of the album, and then I put together the cover, and that is what you'll see today. And then each page I'm doing as a story. I'm not really following it like a daily thing. Like, it's not like October 1st is this story. I know a lot of October daily and December dailies, that's what they do. It's like October 1st, this is what happened. October 2nd, this is what happened. Or December 1st, this is the story. I always use like my December daily. I never use that way. I just tell 25 stories. So sometimes those stories, you know, 2 stories happen in one day, and I just break it up to one story on each page, right? So that's what I'll be doing in this. The other thing that I'm combining with this that I'm trying to do is my journaling will be a reflection of a gratitude, because this is it's a combination of an October daily and a 30 days of thankful. Now, for me, the 30 days of thankful, I remember when Facebook first came around years and years ago, decades ago, and you actually saw your friends on Facebook. Like, that was the thing. Like, you didn't see a bunch of random things or a bunch of ads, but like the people you followed actually showed up for you in your feed. I remember in November, people would do these every day. They would post like a thankful thought, and then that kind of morphed into, in the memory keeping community, like doing a thankful 30 days of thankful, and you would do an album like that. And I always loved that, but doing that right up until Christmas and then documenting 25 Christmas stories and doing a mini album for Christmas, I never could make it work. Like, it just was too much, and I would fall behind on both projects. And my December daily is something that I really love doing, and I have lots of years of mini albums, and that's definitely a project I want to complete by the end of the year, or by the end of January the following year. So I stopped doing the 30 thankful one. And then October daily, I've always seen those as very Halloween heavy. And again, I just don't like Halloween. I hate it. I always hated it as a kid. It was always very scary to me. We have never done anything Halloween with our kids. We don't celebrate Halloween. We don't pass out candy. It's just not something that we do. And so the idea of doing an October daily never really worked, because I thought it just had to be Halloween. This year, as I was like, well, why don't I just do a 30 days of thankful and an October daily and bring it together and do both of those together, and then I can just focus on fall and autumn, which I really love. So that's what this is. It's my autumn memories and gratitudes. And so each story, I'm trying to pair my journaling. I'm trying to make that through the lens of gratitude. So I'm really enjoying that, and it's really working out really well to do that. And then I will also be using all of the collection of stuff that I have. I will be using for my October Project Life family album. I'll just use the same product since I have so much of it, and that will be really fun as well to do. So just to jump back to the project, I added that strip of paper down the middle, and then I added the house. You saw that I added the glitter to the tree, and off camera, what you're not seeing me do is I always test your bottles of glitter, Nuvo drops, stickles over a piece of paper before you put it to your project. Just recently, in a member only video that I was doing, I was working on a project, and I'm pretty sure it was in a member only, and I got my Nuvo drops out and I started to use them, and I was testing it on a piece of paper, and thank goodness I was testing it over paper and not over my project directly, because the top popped off my Nuvo drops and went everywhere. I had yellow goo everywhere, and thank God it didn't get on my project, because I would have been devastated. So always test on the paper. So with this particular Nuvo drops, it had gotten thick, the glitter and the stuff in the bottle had gotten thick and would not go through the little tube. So you see, I just put it on a piece of paper here and grabbed a brush, and then I'm pouncing it onto the roof. And my idea was, when you print something out and you put something wet on it, the thing is that there's no coating on this paper. It has just come right out of my printer, and what's going to happen is when something wet gets on it, it's going to bleed. And I am having that issue on other days where I'm using glitter or I'm using glossy accents. And because it was pulling up the ink a little bit, and then I had a little bit of blue paint that had dried on this paintbrush, I decided to pounce it up and down, and then it would leave this texture, like a roof texture, and it actually came out really amazing. You'll see that in the photos when, if you wanted to pop over to my website on my blog, I have photos, and that you can see this project up a little bit closer. So that worked out really well. Again, I added glitter to the tree, and then the little pinwheel flower above that, and that is how the front cover came out. In the days to come, you're going to see that I accidentally end up having something happen to the cover and I have to repair it, but that's okay. It ended up working out. The thing also is, when you're using glitter and you're using glossy accents, you have to let them dry. So unfortunately, there's been a couple days where I've been really excited and creative and I've wanted to work on this more, and then I put glitter on it and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry to do the next thing. But it's definitely making all of the product pop. I'm loving working on this. Again, I think it's the perfect size. It has been a lot of fun to work on and to work with this product. I'm really glad that I chose this product. Again, I'm working with 2 collections, and the total cost of the 2 collections that I bought, the pieces that I bought, were around $47. And on both collections, I bought 2 items that were around $4.50 that I did not need and I didn't realize. And so altogether, I feel like it wasn't that expensive to use and to get, and I'm glad I did that. And then this is just, I printed out the prompts and I put them on black cardstock, and I'm just having them by my desk. But there's 50 different ideas that you can use here. I'll be using some of these and you'll see that. And again, on next Friday's video, you'll see a couple of the days come together. And I'm loving that. So I would love to know if you're working on an October daily. If you love Halloween and you're doing Halloween, I would love to know that. And let me know if you even have a channel or you're sharing somewhere, because I would love to see your projects as well. There's 2 other videos here on the screen for you that you can check out. I would love for you to give this video a like, and that will help you to be kind to me. If you can hype the video, that would be amazing as well. And I will catch you in my next video.